Hey, Miss Anthony, I was on this side talking. No, not for you. I was just getting class loaded up. We about to
Okay,
start.
okay, I didn't know. I was just making sure.
Yeah, just give me one more moment, okay? And we'll
Okay,
get started.
yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
You know what? Use this time. Can you, before we start class, um, can you? I want you to do motivation when the 10 o'clock students come in. And you can only stay on for like 30 minutes. You don't have to stay on for the entire time. But we're going to start that class with a motivation since it's the 1st of July. So, and if you could begin with a quote or uh, just go ahead and look that up, and I'll be ready for you shortly. Okay.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay. So this morning, I wanted to review. Um, we kind of been missing each other, but I want to review lesson plan and just begin to introduce that to you. I'm going to send you another email today with a couple of additional PowerPoints from chapter 7 to chapter 10. It's also going to include a very thorough, when I say thorough, a very thorough example of um, a lesson plan. And that's the one I want us to start with, okay? I think if you do this one first, we'll move on to the lesson plans in preparation for your state board. But every class begins with a lesson plan, and I'm trying to scan it. Okay, let me see. Where can I send this to? Share. Um, I'm gonna send this to my messenger. Okay. Okay, let's pull up how that lesson plan looks first. And then we'll jump back over. I want to have an opportunity for you to look at that. And I have on my phone, I have tiny scanner. There we go. All right. So sent this to you as well. I'm also going to send it via email for printing, but this is just a traditional lesson plan. Let's go over the parts of it. You're going to have a topic that you're teaching, your instructor name, and the date that you're going to teach the course. All right. Next, you're going to have lesson objectives. It says upon completion of the lesson, the student will be able to, and it has space for up to 7. I would say you need to have a minimum of 3 things that the student will learn every time that you begin to teach. Okay, so every time we're teaching them something, it needs to be a map, a blueprint, and that's what a lesson plan is. Okay. What tools, implements, and equipment do you need? What tools, implements, and equipment does the student need to fulfill this? Okay, to fulfill this lesson. How long do you need to teach this lesson? How long will it take to teach this lesson? That's the time allotment. And the teaching aids. What are you going to use outside of you talking that's going to help you teach this lesson? And let me do examples when we talk about teaching aids. You are lecturing, okay? But what are you going to use to help stimulate your students and so they won't get bored? Okay. What are you going to use to support the words you're saying out of your mouth as truth to enhance your lesson? So if I'm teaching, give me something random to teach. Give me anything, name anything to teach. Miss Anthony, name anything we can teach. It doesn't matter. Name anything. You there, Miss Anthony? Let's do, for example, let's do, for example, hair color. Okay. What teaching aids could I use to support hair color? I'm going to use color chart. Okay, my hair color book. Um, I may also use swatches, actual wefts of colored hair swatches. And I also may use videos. Those would be teaching aids. I also could use magazines. Okay. Those would be teaching aids to support the lesson. Okay. Your introduction, gotta have a motivation. Your presentation outline, okay, which is the order that you would teach. If I'm teaching hair color, I'm not going to teach bleaching first. I'm not teaching highlighting first. All right. I'm not teaching them how to upsell the color first. I am first going to teach them traditionally the law of color. Okay. And then I'm going to go from hair colorings, different types of hair colorings. All right. Then I'm going to introduce them into procedures. All right. And so on and so on and so on. So their presentation outline is going to simply be the storyline that you're going to use to teach your subject. And then the relevant notes and discussion points. These are the questions or areas that you would jog students to interact with you. Okay. And when I say jog students to interact with you, you could just lecture. We all know an educator could just lecture and lecture and lecture, talk and talk and talk. But it has to be a point that we pause and we reiterate what we've spoke. Okay. And so we pause and then we ask questions. Well, if the students are just new to this, they would not know exactly what questions to ask. So as the educator, you can pose questions towards them that really reflect the whole subject. Okay. So you can pull them in from their experiences. You can pull them in from your experiences. All right. And so that is a key component. And then we'll do a summary and review. Rate yourself 1 out of 10. How well did your class receive the information? Did you do a quiz at the end of the day? How much of the information did they retain? Now, we could do an amazing lesson plan on paper. We could come and kill it in person. But if the student does not retain the information, we have not done anything. We just practiced. Okay. So the goal is for the student to retain the information. That's retaining the information equals to learning. And yes, you might have to say things more than once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Studies show students don't get but 25% of what they learn after saying something familiar with them 4 times. All right, so as new educators, get used to simplifying your message, okay? And rating a room, okay? Who do I have before me? What education levels am I dealing with? Every class is going to be different how you deliver and how they receive. All right. And so be very mindful that our job is to articulate the lesson, okay, where they can envision it, they can understand it, and then learning happens. So I want to make sure we are able to share that and we understand our perspectives on teaching in a classroom and not just a person just up teaching. It's not just a person on the other side of the screen. You actually got to have a map. Okay. And this is one map, very simplified. And then we'll move to something more um, that has a little bit more context to it. Okay. Any questions about this? A lesson plan? Any questions? All right. No questions. Great. I'm prepared to go to the following screen. All right. So this chapter continuously, I want you to begin to review and read. It's communicating confidently. It's being confidence when you're before them. We're moving on to presentation, but looking at this critical concept and goals, and then we're going to move on to bringing our other students in. It says our critical concept, you may believe you understood what someone said, but what you heard may not be what was meant at all. So making sure that our communication is very clear in the classrooms, okay? Your desired performance goals. We want to define communication. We want to identify barriers to communication. That's the key component. What stops us from communicating with our students, our castmates, our classmates, whatever you want to call them, our coworkers? What stops us from communicating? Okay. You want to listen more effectively. You want to recognize your own communication style. Am I even communicating effectively? Or what I'm saying, are they able to understand it? Okay. You want to list key tips for communicating with confidence. And confidence will take you so many places. Okay. You want to explain strategies for in school communication. All right. And so there's always a way to break something down, to give clarity. And there's a professional way to do it. And so we're going to learn to do that because that starts to separate us from just basic individuals who just, with working, demoing without a license, without a certification or certificate, to those individuals who are actually sustaining careers in education and also beauty education. You're building relationships, okay? And you're stronger and stronger in your confidence. And that makes you stronger and stronger as you begin to present in front of a class, whether it's a computer or in the 4 walls of a classroom. All right. And so those are some desired goals. We're going to continue to move into those. I probably do a recording on this as well. And of course, the master educator knows the goal of effective communication is mutual understanding. All right. Gotta have mutual understanding. Speak less and listen more. That is a big component of communication. A barrier. Students will say the educator does not listen to me. Okay. They don't respect me. They do not listen to me. All right. From there, communicates her enthusiasm, self esteem, self confidence, energy, and appreciation of others. You got to be able to communicate. Good job. All right. Transmit information, thought, and feeling. You got to be able to translate what you're saying, how you feel. And then there's encoding and decoding. You giving information and you receiving the information, how you pack it up and how you unpack it. And I was telling somebody the other day, as an educator, you cannot be offended and you have to be aware. My pastor says the green eye mustard. The green eye mustard is the spirit of offense. And this is what I understand. People going to talk about you. They talked about Jesus, but baby, let them talk. You are there to do a job. You are above trying to defend yourself when it comes to somebody not liking you. You're not gonna. Everybody's not gonna be your cup of tea, and you're not gonna be everybody else's cup of tea. But you are going to be the professional. Okay, you are going to be the professional. You are going to rise to the top. You are going to communicate effectively. You're going to get the job done. One thing about it, they may say they didn't like you, but number two, it doesn't matter what they didn't like. They respect you because they know you're going to teach them regardless of whatever barrier. And you will find those same individuals that will say whatever now, but 4 or 5 years down the road, I am thankful you were tough on me. I am thankful that you consistently taught me and didn't be. And so one of the biggest things with educators, we like to go in and sometimes we're afraid of like that first day of school, we get afraid. But you can consistently go in with confidence and teach. All right. Teach like your life depended on. This is my career. I've made it to the door. I am going to do this. All right. And don't let other things cause us to be pulled back from that. And us, we get into a spirit of offense. As an educator, we can get offended and we pull back and not teach the students what they needed to be taught. That's very reckless. All right. And you have some individuals that go in being friends and it makes the environment amazing, but then it makes it hard for you to discipline, hard for you to set rules in place. And so educators could be on two sides of the boards at that point. But I'm going to tell you now, go in and teach and do your job. Love everyone. Remember, everyone is not going to feel, nobody wants you know, people to tell them what to do, but you're the professional. You're the credentialed one. You're the licensed one. You're here for a reason. And we have to make sure we're there. I know how to be stern, but also I know how to be loving. Okay. I know how to say yes and I know how to say no. A lot of times with educators, we need to build our own selves up before we turn around and mess something up in our job. Okay. So we have to build our own selves up to a place of maturity so we can handle the place where we're going. I'm gonna pull back because it sounds like a preach. But our students are preparing to come in. We're gonna pick back up on this in a little while, but definitely go ahead and come on in. I am going to open up and let our amazing students start coming in. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Good morning. Happy July. Happy July. It's a month of celebration, new beginning. It's a ribbon cutting July. Okay. Happy July. Y'all, we made it. If you thought you'll never make it out of June, you made it. It is a true testament. We made it. Welcome to July. Y'all, this month I want to dedicate to business, some new beginnings. It is the beginning of the third quarter. All right. And we're going to talk business a lot this month. Every day, we want to close with a business tip. Okay. A jewel, a nugget. Um, every day, every day, we want to close with it. Okay. So happy July. Welcome to the fold. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Go ahead, clock in on home base and also clock in the chat. It's the roll call, y'all. It's the roll call. As I prepare the screen, Miss Anthony is joining us again. And she's going to begin our motivation in a minute. So she has a quote that she's going to share. It's going to start our class off. And so go ahead, clock in, get it on home base, and we're about to get into it. We're about to get into it. Welcome to July.
Good morning, Miss Costa. Are you ready for me to start?
Good morning. I was pulling up their course. Yeah, you can go ahead and start while I pull up their lesson for the day. Thank you. In your hands when you're ready, Miss Anthony.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, class. Good morning, class. I am Trishonda Anthony, and I have a motivational speech for you today. And it says, business opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. If what you are doing is not moving toward your goals, then it's moving you from your goals. Success is not in what you have, but who you are. Failure is not about insecurity, it's about lack of execution. And some of the some of the best motivational quotes ever that'll help you succeed is, do not stop thinking of life as an adventure. Perfection is not attainable. Get a good idea and stay with it and stick with it and keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground, and you will most definitely succeed. Okay, Miss Cox.
I love that. Y'all give her
Thank
a
you.
one in the chat. Keep your feet on the ground. And what does the end say? You'll most definitely succeed.
Yes, ma'am, you'll definitely succeed.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's do some ones in the chat. Ones in the chat if you receive that. Ones in the chat if you receive that. And you know what? That's right on time for it's a new month. Do how many times do you guys when you enter a new month you feel renewed, refreshed? Like, yes, it's another opportunity. Um, I want to take a moment and say, could everybody here? I know I have one or two individuals who won't be graduating in July, but their day is coming. But think about this, ladies. Remember when you started? Remember when you started? Just take a moment. You're about to finish real big. You're about to finish something real, real big, real, real big. And when I say real, real big, because it does something to you when you set a goal out and when you finish, when you cross it off, done. Even before class today, I was speaking with a friend of mine and I was telling him, just we were doing some encouragement and we were talking about, do we have anything on our list that we didn't do that's not completely checked off? And I said, years and years and years ago, people could say, you know, why do I need to finish college? Why do I need to do this? I'm already making money. I'm already in the industry I want to be in. And I said, there's always been one lingering thing. And I think I may have shared this with my students as well. Um, and that's a testament of the safety that I may feel sometimes with you guys about finishing my degree to become a dermatologist. And, the fear or the anxiety starts to pick at you when you start to think about how many years it takes to be a doctor. And I said, one thing I'm gonna do, let me find a shorter course. I'm still gonna get there, but sometimes we need these shorter goals. And these shorter goals, I believe, um, that I am going back to school. And when I do go back to school, that completion, that course, get that first degree, get that out the way, and then to start picking at the next two. And so I'm super excited about, yes, I'm gonna go back. Yes, I'm not gonna let nothing stop me. But instead of looking at the whole thing in years, I'm just gonna look at it as stepping stone. So let me get to this stone first. And I know I have to go that one and that one. So let me start knocking them out first. And that is what I am initially going to do. And I've made up my mind. Actually, last night, I made up my mind that I'm going to do it and nothing's going to stop me. So I just wanted to take a moment with my own students and just kind of just want you to breathe a little bit. Remember the moment God gave you the idea to go to school. Remember the moment where you started aligning what school you were going to go to. Remember the moment you started receiving visions about your next, um, what do you want to build with the degree? Okay. Remember the moment that that's right here today. Yeah, that's right here today. And that particular moment is, y'all, we need to celebrate. We're gonna celebrate every day that we're in this building for the month of July until July 26th. Okay, because this is your month. You did it. If no one else congratulates you, you did it. If you don't have another support system, you did it. And that motivational was right on time, Miss Anthony. Thank you for just being in tune. And because July is, wow, what my pastor calls a ribbon cutting month. And you know, whenever you cut a ribbon, what happens? Yeah, Ashley, it's going to be big, Pastor Mike voice. What happens when people gather and cut a red ribbon? What's usually happening? Can somebody tell me what's usually happen when people cut a red ribbon? When they cut the ribbon, what's usually going on?
I got the card.
Grand opening.
Yeah, grand opening with celebrating new accomplishments. That's it. Ashley and Raquel, that's it. It's a grand opening. We're celebrating a big event. That's it, Tanaya. We missed you yesterday. Welcome back. I hope you're feeling well. And you know what we need to always do. I don't care what it looks like or what it feels like. We're about to cut a red ribbon. Do I need to bring some ribbon to graduation? I think I do need to bring some ribbon to graduation. We are cutting a red ribbon, okay? And we're about to celebrate. You guys accomplished something huge, huge. And it's just only the beginning, okay? And so um, even after graduation, we're going to have that summer break. And the students who are still enrolled, of course, you guys will have, you know, virtual assignments and things of that nature. But within that summer break, we're going to come back and it's going to be full speed ahead because the ones now who have picked up the torch, it's time for them to get the running. Okay. And we will be there all the way to help you move to the state board. And even after the state board, we're going to be a part. Okay. So I'm going to let you have a little break after graduation, but I do want you to consistently keep in touch and come and join us in class for refreshers and state board, continue state board prep until you get to that test. Okay. And that's usually about 6 to 8 weeks. So I hope all of my students are tested before the year's out. Even my instructor students are tested before the year's out at the end of the day. And then we have Danielle and Tanaya who are looking at maybe January, February. January may be coming out and then testing in February. I got y'all going directly after y'all finish. So everybody, I want you to have that as a goal, okay? That as a goal. As we begin to move about, let's start with we will watch a couple videos today and we stopped off on lesions. I wanted you guys to continue reading chapter 4. I had one student to show me her index cards. One student. Now we are going on 4th of July break. And I'm adding check-in questions. Okay, so I need your index cards and check-in questions by Monday. Okay, when you come into the school Monday, you should come in. Hey, how you doing? We celebrating every day we come in, but you should be showing me your check-in questions for chapter 4, and also you should be showing me your index cards. All right. So you got some work to do. All right. Especially if you want to make sure you're getting the credit. So please make sure you complete that assignment. This first video is skin lesions overview. And you guys, we remember consultations, analysis. We have to do those prior to services, but also we got to train our eye. You can read all day long, but you have to train your eye. And remember, there are contraindications, which means there are things that give us doubt whether the client can receive the service or not. All right. So, as an esthetician, you have a scope of practice to a certain bound, you have a boundary. Knowing what the lesions and what stages the lesions are in, whether it's a primary, secondary, so on and so on, is whether you can treat it or you got to pass it over to a dermatologist. So let's watch this short video. And as we begin to watch the video, let's take some visual notes. Okay, here we go.
Changes in skin color or by elevations.
I'm starting over because I wanted to have the volume up. All right. So great recap on lesions. And by us studying, a lot of these start to sound
Miss
familiar.
Cox, we couldn't hear the video.
Okay. No one heard the video?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Hold on one moment. Okay. Mm, Let's test.
Primary lesions are in the early stages of
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. It's
yes,
that
ma'am.
primary lesions. All right. Thank you guys. Hold on one moment. I'm starting over.
Primary lesions are in the early stages of development or change. They are characterized by flat, non-palpable changes in skin color or by elevations, such as vesicles or pustules, formed by fluid in a cavity. A bulla is a large blister containing watery fluid. It is similar to a vesicle, but larger. A cyst is a closed, abnormally developed sac containing fluid, infection, or other matter above or below the skin. An acne cyst is one type of cyst. A macule is a flat spot or discoloration on the skin, such as a freckle or a red spot left after a pimple has healed. Macules are neither raised nor sunken. A papule is a small elevation on the skin that contains no fluid but may develop into a pustule. A pustule is an inflamed papule with a white or yellow center that contains pus. Pus is a fluid consisting of white blood cells, bacteria, and other debris produced by an infection. A vesicle is a small blister or sac containing clear fluid. Poison ivy and poison oak produce vesicles. A scab on a sore is an example of a crust or dead cells formed over a wound or blemish during healing. Crusts result in an accumulation of sebum and pus, sometimes mixed with epidermal material. A fissure is a crack in the skin that may penetrate into the dermis. Fissures are seen on chapped lips and hands. A scar is a discolored, slightly raised mark on the skin formed after an injury or lesion is healed. The tissue hardens to heal the injury.
All right. So those are some pretty, as I was stating before, the more we read, the more that we learn about our disorders, disease conditions, things of that nature, and lesions, and we put them into categories, you start to be very familiar with them. Many of them you've encountered already. You're just putting them into a category in our minds of whether they're primary, secondary lesions. Let's move on to face-to-face with skin disorders and diseases, and then we'll have a little discussion afterwards.
Coming face to face with skin disorders and diseases. Let's face it, the world spends a fortune on beauty products. North of $426 billion a year, or more than double Ireland's entire economy. Oh, that's a lot of green. But even spending pots of gold doesn't mean we're always going to be able to put our best face forward. Every one of us, dermatologists say, will nurse a skin problem at some point. Many are genetic, what we're born with. But most people still report having way less confidence because of them. And that's the rub. Skin can be a sore subject even when it's feeling fine, just doing what comes naturally. To prevent skin from becoming a touchy subject for your guests, be on the lookout for the 3 C's: communicable, chronic, cancer. The first requires you to stop service. The second, a workaround will do. Third, you literally could save a life. Communicable or service-ending conditions pass between people. Stuff like warts, ringworm, and vesicles. Blisters caused by viruses like herpes simplex or varicella zoster. Chickenpox. Infectious vesicles are nothing like the blisters you get limping around during a night out in your best pal's stilettos. Although borrowing shoes is one way to get warts. Vesicles are highly contagious, bright red, fluid-filled sacs. Chronic conditions include psoriasis, eczema, and rosacea. Psoriasis is raised red skin with flaky silver-white patches. Outbreaks usually follow a trigger, like mad stress or bad sunburn. Eczema is inflammation, making skin itchy, red, and dry, cracked and leathery in severe cases. It's most common in babies and typically sorts itself out with age. Rosacea peaks in folks between age 30 and 60 with fair skin or who blush easily. It creates redness on the cheeks, nose, and forehead, sometimes with pimple-like bumps. And is 3 times more common in women than men. When confronting chronic conditions in the salon, just avoid affected areas to prevent enraging the skin even more. Now, cancer. Fortunately, sightings in the salon are rare, but sadly this is still need to know. Not to freak you out, but as a stylist, you're in a position to be the first to spot when some growth's gone bad. Basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and the deadly malignant melanoma. If something's iffy, you don't want to panic your guest, but gently say, if you haven't already, you should have a doctor check out what I'm seeing here. There's scads about skin that's perfectly normal, even if not what we'd want to see in the mirror. Wheals, papules, pustules, macules, keloids. Skin tags, comedones, cystic acne. The medical term nevus, or plural nevi, is used for things we don't think of as beauty marks. They're not so pretty, but still harmless moles, birthmarks, and other pigmentation imperfections. Being a great stylist involves more than making people look beautiful. It's also about making your guests feel great. Knowing you've got their back, that you've got skin in the game on behalf of theirs, is a whole lot more valuable than anything they'll ever buy in a bottle.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So being able to look at those imperfections, being able to look at those pigmentation issues are going to be key for us. Having an eye, so we can read, we can become great, amazing scholars, but at the same time, you're going to have to train your eye, okay? And training your eye, you're going to have to see some stuff. So everywhere I go, I love people watching. I don't know about you. But I was telling somebody I need to go on vacation. I don't have to do a whole lot of excursions. I don't have to do no excursions at all. I just need to sit on the beach and watch people. Okay. Because a lot of times what I'm watching, and when I learned, I'm a specialist in hair color. So what I learned was basically being behind people in the grocery store, being, at the mall, just being at restaurants, studying magazines and pictures. If a magazine says, hey, it's say their Skin Ink magazine and it's for the month of July, I'm gonna pick that magazine up every day in that month of July. All right. I'm gonna learn something every day. I'm gonna dissect something every day. And so I was training myself, I was training my eye, and my eye became very rich. And I also started to do this in skin. And you will find that your skin will become very rich and your knowledge of skin is going to become very rich, that people could tell you the issue that's going on. And you already have a vision of what that is and how you can help. Okay. And so we want to get to that point where we move into expert mode. All right. And so the only way we can move into expert mode is to make sure we hone our craft. And so we got to study. And sometimes that means studying skin outside of the book. So everybody in your house, you should have a picture, a front, a profile, okay? And maybe an up close video examining the texture of their skin, the pigmentation of their skin. You should be touching it. All right. And they may say, you did not do all of this before you got into that school. No, we didn't. But this is now part of my career where I'm going. And I have to know skin, not just in knowledge base, but also in visual basis. Got to be visual about it. And so that was something I definitely wanted to share with you. And just a short, let me see if we can go back. Let me stop chat. All right. So you guys can unmute, just have a little discussion. Have who's picked up the bug of just looking at everybody's skin. You're being introduced and you just naturally start looking at somebody's, like what they got going on with their skin. Who's picked that up? Who has picked that up? Are you in the chat?
Yeah, I had typed in check, but I was looking at my boyfriend pimples and his like his oily nose where you could tell that it's a lot of whiteheads.
Me too.
I caught myself just staring at him like literally yesterday, and I was wondering like, why am I doing this? But yeah, I see this why.
It makes sense. Yeah. It's all about it. Sometimes you just want to take those things and put them directly into action. That's good. Danielle says me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Ashley said my son's skin is going through puberty. You should definitely be taking photos, Ashley. And can you imagine how many other little boys you're gonna help? Because his friends are gonna say, "What are you doing?" Have his friends or anyone asked you to do that facial yet? I'm sure he's sharing.
His best friend be asking all the time, could you put the little hot towel on me?
Cause
So
you
I
know they
take it
gotta
like the
look
boy
good.
been telling him.
Yeah, I was like, they sharing because they gotta look good for the ladies. They gotta look good for the ladies, and we got to get their skin together so they can go back to school popping. You know, and I'm sure when his stuff start clearing up, his friends are gonna be like, "Man, I want to go to his mama." Wherever his mama is, I want to go to his mom and get my skin done. So that's going to be great. That's even a great marketing aspect as well, especially for, he's in band, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So he
They've been
needs.
in band camp to 9 o'clock every day, Monday through Thursday. So yeah,
My,
out in the heat,
my,
Whitehaven.
my. You said Whitehaven?
Mm-hmm. So this his skin collecting dust out there in the heat and yeah.
Yeah. You know what may do good for him? Some pads, cleansing pads.
Okay.
Um, and making sure he have some wipes.
Okay.
Not so much. I mean, let's do some research and finding some face wipes instead of the body wipes. Um, and then we have to think about, okay, if he's in uniform, how do we get, for a young man to get moisturizer? He's gonna pull out something and put a drop on. We got to make things easier and simplify for our young men. So we have to think about that. Maybe if the wipe has some moisturizing properties to it, it'll hold him until he gets to the house.
Okay.
Um, that toner that I made also is used as a skin refresher, guys. And so we could make some toner. You can put his toner like in the fridge the night
Okay.
before, and just a little pocket, little 2 ounce or 4 ounce, and tell him, hey, spray your face with the toner. It'll refresh him and won't get him so hot. His face won't be so hot. And
Okay.
so you use the wipe and then spray the toner, pat it in, and of course hand sanitizer. That'll be his little kit for band.
Okay.
That'll be his little kit. Maybe some wipes, the toner, and some hand sanitizer. That's
All
his
right.
little kit. That's it. It's, and even though, and when he get home, it'll be a more detailed process, but you have to think about what male is going to carry a whole skincare kit. And he got other things going on. He has social time. He just needs something to put in his pocket. It's real small, so sample size.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so let's what I wanted to introduce you guys to, I'm gonna share the screen, and then we're gonna talk about they mentioned a little bit about cancer, aesthetics and cancer, and we deal with the skin. It's the largest organ of the body. And also cancer has, in the aesthetic industry, cancer has been that thing that affects a lot of people. And so there's education that has been built around on ecology. All right. So I want to share and just bring light to you. um, Once you guys get licensed, you can go on for additional advanced training in just cancer, treating skin of individuals who have had cancer, going through different treatments, and also those individuals who come out, who are survivors. Okay. So, yes, Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, Mississippi, every state has some type of education program, all right? But now we're looking at programs that are specifically designed for estheticians, okay? Oncology aesthetics training, all right? Um, Oncology Spa Solutions, Aesthetics USA. It says oncology aesthetics training equips estheticians with the specialized knowledge and skills to provide safe and effective skincare treatments for individuals undergoing cancer treatments. When I tell you, when you graduate and when you become licensed, there are all these many things that you learn. But now you start to hone in and say, this area of aesthetics is what I want to specialize in. Some people specialize in lashes, other people specialize in facials. You may specialize in treating those individuals in the cancer ring. Okay, so there are particular trends that you can go to. And there's plenty of videos. There's
Your
so
phone breaking,
things that you can go to, but please,
Your
hello,
phone breaking. Your phone breaking, Miss Cox.
I'm on the PC. Y'all can't hear me? I'm not on the phone. My audio, let me check my audio.
It was breaking up at first, but I think you should be good now. Like during the times that you were talking, it was kind of breaking up, going in and out.
Okay. Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2.
It's working.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. Thank y'all. And anything, feel free to unmute at any time if something is going on that's not supposed to be going on. But let's look at Oncology Spa Solutions. Let's find out where they're located. Okay. They have their accreditation in CEA. When we do our white coat ceremony, when we get ready to do our white coats before the graduation, there's an ethics. There's an ethics that pertains to aesthetics, and that bill of ethics is read, and this is our accreditation agency that brings those bill of ethics forward. Okay, pretty much you commit to providing amazing, great service without discrimination to individuals. You commit to providing the best knowledgeable, continued training so you can provide the best knowledge of those services, the know-how. You commit to making this industry even better. And so that's a part of our white coat ceremony. So whenever I see NCEA, they're a part of us. And so those individuals, this particular spa or this training institution is NCEA. And when I see that, that's a seal that says, okay, these individuals are committed to training. They're committed to enhancing the industry that you are in today. And they do that by the aesthetics training, the nail care training, and they have advanced retreats. All right. And looks like they have an FAQ. All right. So you guys are ever interested and want to go that step further, please don't hesitate. Let's watch Carrie 2 minutes.
I remember getting a card in the mail that said, "Let's change lives together." I thought, yeah, let's do that. It wasn't until a few months later that I really understood what that card could mean. I work at a spa, at a golf course, in addition to my own company, Lotus Skinworks. I practice in Goodyear, Arizona, and that golf course doesn't really have an intake. So I walked into work and all the front desk could tell me was that my first client had a port. There was 2 facials booked, and when I took my first client back, I started speaking with her. I asked her all the questions that Becky teaches us, and it gave me such insight to what I needed to do during this facial. I was amazed by this woman that was standing in front of me. I remember she had half of her stomach removed, half of her colon, half of her pancreas, had vein reconstruction. She died twice on the table in an 11-hour surgery. She had E. coli in her previous port and had to have a new port put in. She gets her nutrients through a tube, although she still goes to lunch with her friends, but she says it goes straight through her. While she was on my table, I remember her body just relaxing and her opening her eyes and looking up at me and telling me that my hands were magical. I really don't know if I would have been able to help her if I hadn't taken Becky's classes, because I think I would have just been scared to touch her. And she had told me at the beginning, don't feather touch me because people are scared to touch me. And I remember Becky saying the exact same words, that once people hear you have cancer, that they just don't know what to do, so they get scared. I think taking Becky's classes, if you are going to be working with that type of clientele, is completely essential, because I wouldn't have known what to do. I don't know people if I work with would have known what to do. So it made me comfortable enough to where I could give her that peace to feel her on the table just melting under my hands, because I could tell that she had not been touched like that in a very long time. So if this is something you're thinking about,
Wow. I absolutely love that. How many of you, you're not in it for the money? Of course, we want the increase, but we want people to feel good, and we want people to feel exactly. I can feel the emotion. You want people to feel good. You want them to look good, and they're going to get that from you. And so, yeah, increase is coming because it's one of the top beauty industries. All right. But on top of increase coming, oh my, you can change people's lives. Okay. You can change people's lives. And let me get a student, if someone could unmute and just tell me, what do you think about this little video? What did you think about what she was saying? Could you feel her emotions?
I got a little emotional.
You
I
did.
guess due to the fact that I'm a cancer survivor, so I
Wow.
looked at it a little different.
Yeah. You could really understand what she was feeling. She
Yes,
felt her body just relax.
thanks.
Yeah. Somebody that was trained and didn't have to just, think like, I don't want to touch her because I don't want to mess up. And there's nothing wrong with that. But can you imagine being trained in it and someone saying, okay, I trust you. I'm looking at how many people did she have before Carrie, you know? And so if it's a part of if this is something you guys would like to do, remember that aesthetics degree can go so many places. Before she started speaking, getting into it, she said she had her own thing going on, and then she worked at a golf course. And that's telling me it's a resort. So there are private golf courses that have spas attached. There's a couple of them in Memphis. Whenever you have like a large golf course, they're gonna have a spa attached to it. I know I go to the World Marriott in Orlando. They have a water park, a golf course, and a spa. Okay. So if you're looking for this is a business tip too. If you're looking for a high yield income, and you don't mind traveling, take your aesthetics degree and find your resort. Okay, find your resort, whether it's and I'm not going to say Mexico or anything like that because the pay may be drastically different. But find your resorts that's associated with a golf course. Well, there's a membership. It's a membership, and so you're going to get individuals who are already, at a top tier standard because they're paying for the membership, so they already know what the prices are, and go from there. So most of the time you don't have any issues as long as you're doing an amazing and a good job. When I look at cruise ships, I've seen one young lady go work on a cruise ship, and this was maybe about 10 years ago. She was a student when I worked at another school. She went and worked on a cruise ship, and I think she still works on a cruise ship doing skincare. Okay. So she gets to travel everywhere. And that's what she loved to do. And she found a way to travel for free and do what she loved doing. And so she lives on a cruise ship and she ports in, ports out, goes on vacation still, gets off, gets back on somewhere else. So you guys could do so many things. It doesn't have to be the traditional go find somewhere to work or build my own. There are so many other windows to skincare. There's so many other windows to beauty. Okay, let me just say that. And so I wanted you guys to see that. I'm going to stop sharing. Let's move into how this relates to our lesson. Okay, this relates to our lesson.
Basal cell carcinoma is the most common and the least severe type of carcinoma.
Can you guys hear that? I just want to make sure you guys can hear it. Awesome.
Basal cell carcinoma is the most common and the least severe type of carcinoma. It often appears as light, pearly nodules. Squamous cell carcinoma is a more serious condition than basal cell carcinoma. It is characterized by red or pink scaly papules or nodules. A malignant melanoma is the most serious form of skin cancer. It appears as a black or dark patch on the skin that is usually uneven in texture, jagged, and raised.
All right. And so it's good for us to learn those areas and what are the symptoms, okay? Because remember, we're training our eyes, so we need to know how something looks in order to say, hey, you need to go get that checked out. Remember, we cannot diagnose, and we don't want to confuse a basic papule with a cancer. So we're not telling the client, oh, I think you got cancer, okay? We're definitely telling the client, I see some things that may be of concern. I would like you to go get it checked out. Okay. And so that's one thing we got to always remember to keep before us. All right, let's look at our skin cancer and sun exposure fact sheet. Okay, it says about 91,270 new melanomas will be diagnosed, about 55,150 in men and 36,120 in women every year. So when we ask, is there a market to service individuals in skincare? Absolutely. Is there also a market to and a reason that you should get some advanced training, okay, in learning about skin cancer? Absolutely. All right. It says skin cancer is the most common cancer diagnosis for men over age 50. So those individuals who are wanting to specialize in male grooming, you want a male clientele, you should be bringing education and facts. So have you all ever wondered why the state of Tennessee makes it mandatory for beauty professionals who are licensed to go through a domestic violence training? Before you register and get your license, before you get your license, they want evidence that you have had domestic violence training. Before you renew that license, they want evidence. All right? Because we are connected to the people. We can get the message out. Whenever back in the day, they always wanted to get a message out, they would go to the barbershops, they'll go to the salons. So if you're wanting to get wellness out, you're wanting to get information out to your male clients over 50, and you are specializing in grooming, skincare for male clients, I'm definitely going to talk about skin cancer. I'm definitely going to have some leaflets out there. I'm definitely going to probably take a class. You know, you say, hey, within the next 6 months, I do need to take a webinar. I'm going to see if I can't go to the institution. I'm going to see if there's a webinar. Is there some training? Because what if I get men to come into my business that may be affected by this? I would need to know how to deal with their skin also and how to handle it. All right. So it says skin cancer is the most common cancer diagnosis for men over age 50. We're not talking about prostate. We're talking about skin cancer. All right. We don't see that a lot in melanated Fitzpatricks. Now we know Fitzpatricks, the higher the number, the darker the skin. The melanin fights against the sun rays. Yes, it can still tan. Yes, it may burn, but a little bit, and it has to be excessive for us to be out there. But if we pose with sensitive skin, we could burn just like anybody else. But the darker the skin, the more protection, presumably, you have against skin cancer. The lighter the skin, the less protection you have. So you can already, in your mind, visualize who's mostly affected. Okay? Who's mostly affected. And if you are in an area where you do not have a diverse or mixed clientele and you have more European based, this is going to be a high factor. I'm always going to sell treatments to them for anti-aging. I'm always going to sell I'm always going to look for products that are extremely in sunscreen protected, that protect the skin. Those are going to be my interests in purchasing products, in education, in the items that are the services that I provide. It's going to be a high emphasis on protecting the skin, building a shield to protect the skin. All right. And so based on where you decide to work, it's the demographic that's going to come in there. You're going to have to study according to the demographic, your clients that you have in there. I would not keep studying this and my clients are never dealing with that. Okay. You actually work for the client. So you're going to have to get training on what majority of you see coming into your spot. And if I have a European clientele, Fitzpatrick 1, 2, and 3, make it very clear, a European clientele 1, 2, 3, that's a lack of melanin. Okay. And so what do people with a lack of melanin do? Well, what are they affected by? Number one, if melanin is there and it brings us elasticity, melanin brings it's going to bring moisture, it's going to bring hydration, it is going to have stronger fibers, collagen, and it is going to fight against sun's UV rays. All right. It does the opposite if you don't have it. So these individuals without melanin are going to need all of that support and some. So you already know where the higher range of possible skin cancer may come from. So I'm going to focus on that. That's going to be when I go to trainings and education, I'm going to focus on my market. Okay. And so even if I am concentrating just on male grooming, I'm focusing on enhancing the skin, improving the texture, the quality of the skin, but also I'm in preventive mode. I want to protect the skin. If I can protect the skin, I can prevent, and hopefully my contribution to society is that number go down. I want that number to go down. That's my country. You will feel like you're doing something, I'm a part of this healing process. I'm a part of this process here. But skin cancer and sun exposure is nothing to play with. And, we play around with it and we have other things that come before it. And we think aesthetics is this, but this is aesthetics. This is aesthetics. It says about 9,320 people are expected to die of melanoma. And there's a variety of melanoma every year. And so a lot of times when we look at these lesions, that's why we train our eye, okay? And then there's different forms. We have malignant. We have so many different things. That's why I said when the video is telling you how it looks, make sure you can visualize that. Because a lot of times when we see that, we think, oh, look at that. What's going on with them? And it's really something else. And how often do men, let's just say men, how often do men go into the doctor? I hear about women, we have an appointment for everything. But how often do you hear about men literally going to the doctor and getting something checked out? This training should really be in the barbershop as well. The training we're doing today should really be in a barbershop as well, because that's the majority male clientele. So if 9,320 people are expected to die of melanoma every year, guess what? You're the first ones to start to see stuff, because your business is their skin. And when you see something, say something. Okay? When you see something, say something. Let's go into the chat. Is Maya on? Yeah, especially Black men. You're absolutely right. Okay. The men in your life, just try to share this with them. Okay. And really, I'm going to challenge you guys to share it on your social media. If they don't know you're in school to become an esthetician, share about the importance of knowing what's going on with the skin. If they see something, you're not just, and you can easily, to have a conversation with your dads when you see something, you're not overlooking it, It says more than 90% of skin cancer is caused by sun exposure. Have you guys ever heard an African American or a Black person say, I don't need sunscreen? You ever heard them say that before? In fact, when you hear that, you should say everybody needs sunscreen, because everybody got sun. And then when you think of how cancer and so much of it we still don't know, it's a major effect on families. Families are really affected by it. That 90% of skin cancer is caused by sun exposure. So next time someone's saying they're going on vacation, or every time they're going on vacation, everybody, your number one selling retail product in your spot should be sunscreen, because everybody got skin. And it's just the fact of 90% of skin cancer is caused by sun exposure. So you may find yourself educating them on the wellness of the skin. Okay, if you're going to go on vacation, do not go outside at the peak hours. You need to always have something protected on. You need to be up under the umbrella. Okay. There's so many things in different tips. If you want to put it in a little card, and it could be your vacation package, and then include cleanser, sunscreen, moisturizer. Make sure all of it has some form of sunblock in it. Okay. Um, we can do so much to enhance our business, but also spread the education of skin cancer as well. Prevention. Okay. It says non-melanoma skin cancer is caused by the UV rays from the skin. All right. So even non-melanoma, you still got UV rays. And it says a person dies of melanoma every hour. So yeah, we should be picking up our cross. Okay. If anything, you become an advocate of great skincare. You become an advocate. You're urging people to take care of the skin, because now you're able to share some stats with them. It says 1 in 5 Americans will be diagnosed in their lifetime with skin cancer. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. If we have 20 people sitting in the room, 4 of those people are going to get skin cancer. It says 1 in 5. It says 1 bad burn in childhood doubles the skin risk for melanoma later in life. So even as a child, even as a youth, and we talked about Ashley's son being a teenager in band camp, we got to protect him even more now, because we don't want something from way 20 years ago to come up when he's now, 30, 40 years. You don't want that to come back up and make something worse. It says 1 bad burn in childhood doubles the risk factor for melanoma later in life. A blistering sunburn during childhood increases the risk of melanoma as an adult. It's the deadliest form of skin cancer. So we got to protect the kids, y'all. And then it says skin cancer kills more women in their late 20s and early 30s than breast cancer does. Who would have ever thought? I would have, when you don't know, you don't know. I would have thought breast cancer did in their 20s or 30s. And we're talking about young. These people are young. These women are young. Okay. So here's the thing. I love tanning. I love doing tanning. But if the person is abusing the tanning bed, a lot of people have, they do spray tanning. But if you still have people going to the tanning beds, there, usually your skin should only take once a week. But you do have individuals that go every other day in the wintertime, okay, just so they can keep that tan and not get really, really pale. So the more that they go, you're increasing your chances of getting skin cancer. The more that you're out in the sun, and I think they just had a sunburn run where these individuals intentionally got burned out in the sun. I think we talked about it a little bit, but yeah, Google it, a sunburn. And of course, all the individuals did not look like us. And they were red. They were so burnt. And now that we know these statistics related to skin cancer, I can't even imagine what would cause somebody to put themselves in harm's danger like that. And so even to women, we need to make sure we're having a conversation, okay? And then lastly, it says there's a 75% increase of melanoma risk among those who use tanning beds in their teens and 20s. All right. And so, like I said, I love tanning beds, but you should really only do once a week. Okay. But you do have many individuals who will go that day, they'll do less than 30 minutes at one, and then they'll go to another one, do another 30. And if you're doing that more than once a week, it should be just limited to 30. But if you're getting multiple times in a week, you are increasing your chances of getting skin cancer. All right. Um, because of the rays from the bulbs, they're probably more harmful than the sun rays. All right. And so making sure you are protected. You say, oh, I have the membership to the tanning salon. I don't need to buy the retail product. I don't need to buy the sunscreen. Yes, you do. So everybody needs a sunscreen. Okay. Memphis is finna get super, super hot. It was hot yesterday. Yes, we got to tell our clients to stay cool, but now we have another warning for them is to protect their skin. Everybody should have sunscreen. Number one product. If you're selling your client anything, you should be sunscreen. You're doing their lashes, you need to buy sunscreen. You're doing their makeup, you need to buy sunscreen. All right. So sunscreen is our biggest protector. It's our biggest thing. So we can start with cleansing, you can close with sunscreen. All right. Any questions? Any comments? Do I have Maya on? Miss Anthony, do you have anything you want to share? I always give my teachers opportunity to chime in.
No, ma'am, not at the moment.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I am going to go to, we need to pick up on acne. We'll probably be on for like another 20 minutes, and we're going to use that time to really talk about acne. There are different grades of acne, and from acne, we're moving to PCOS. So super excited about this. And we'll primarily close the chapter out with acne, PCOS, dermatitis, and just other things related to the skin. But acne and PCOS, I want y'all to put y'all thinking caps on, because when you're dealing with a major clientele, most of us will target women. That's what women are dealing with, whether it's acne as a preteen or even a late set acne as adults. It comes in different grades. Many women are dealing with hormonal issues, perimenopause. Please study perimenopause. Study menopause, okay? Study that, because your clients, the skin is going to react to what your clients are going through. That's just a tip. It's just a tip. You like, Miss Cos, we're not doctors. You are very close to a doctor. Okay. Most times when I go to a doctor, they Google it. I have to tell them what to look for. Okay. And last night I went to see my mom, and I had to pretty much tell them, I said, I've been in this hospital long enough. I could probably be a nurse. I could probably be a doctor. Okay. But a lot of times you have to enhance your knowledge. And so if you know things that a lot of women deal with, who is your market, okay, and you know that your clientele is within a certain age, start studying perimenopause, because I don't know why my timeline, I got so many people going through menopause. So I've already started just researching back on perimenopause, what that looks like, how does it affect what I do, which is hair, skin, and nails. Menopause, what does that look like on the skin? What does it look like in the transition of hair? Also studying, I always study PCOS. What does reproductive, anything with the reproductive organs, how does that look on hair, skin, and nails? What am I going to see before the baby? At conception, when a woman is pregnant, what are we going to go through with the hair, skin, and nails? And then post pregnancy, what's going on? Okay, we got to be informed, because remember, we got to know about your client. You got to know about your client base. So if women is majority of your clients, I expect you to hone in on those areas that affect women the most. You are the expert. I don't care what nobody say. You just got your license. You are the expert. They should be coming to you than some random person at a beauty supply store telling them what they need. Just get some more shea butter. No, they should be coming to you. You're the expert. It doesn't matter how long you had the license. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the field. You are considered an expert. Okay. And so I want your expertise. I want everybody expertise and personalities to start coming out, because we're the ones that need to change the narrative from just them searching and talking to random people to now them coming to the experts. So we are inserting our expertise in places we've never. Sometimes you just may have kept quiet, but since you're learning and you pop onto these conversations, you may want to insert. Well, actually, I would probably, as an esthetician, a licensed esthetician, or I'm studying as a future esthetician, I believe you should look into this because, and start sharing tips about skincare or about issues that people deal with. That's another way that you can grab and catch attention to your clientele. They don't know that you're an expert if you don't find a way to show them. So I would have a dedication day that you share on whatever platform. Text 10 people a tip of the day for skincare if they're going through menopause. Okay, have a sip and see. I don't know. Do free client analysis. Talk about what's going on with the skin. 2 or 3 things. You become the expert and allow them to book or purchase right then and right there. All right. Now, when you make $1 million, don't forget to give me a little bit, because we're gonna give you $1 million worth of game. Okay. Let's look at the video for Acne 101. We're going back to our ebooks. I want you guys to start reading about acne and PCOS, and that's going to be the highlight of our week. So stay tuned. You want to be experts in acne, period.
There are 4 grades of acne. Its severity is determined by the number of lesions, comedones, papules, pustules, and cysts. Grade 1 acne is characterized by minor breakouts, mostly open comedones, some closed comedones, and a few papules. Grade 2 acne is characterized by many closed comedones, more open comedones, and occasional papules and pustules.
Since this is 1 minute, let me take it back. When we talked about you learning and people watching and you training your eye, remember acne is in grades. So when individuals come to you and call you or text you and say, hey, I got acne, or you're helping someone on the social media site that says you got acne, when you hear this, your question should be, what grade acne are you? And if they say grade 1, you should be able to say, tell me what are some of the things you're seeing. Even if they tell you what they see, you should be able to put them into categories and know what grade acne you are talking about. If they're totally off, it may not be a form of acne at all. Okay, so this is just something for you to get deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm going to take it all the way back, start it over, and remember, acne is in grades.
There are 4 grades of acne. Its severity is determined by the number of lesions, comedones, papules, pustules, and cysts. Grade 1 acne is characterized by minor breakouts, mostly open comedones, some closed comedones, and a few papules. Grade 2 acne is characterized by many closed comedones, more open comedones, and occasional papules and pustules. Grade 3 acne involves red, inflamed skin, and many comedones, papules, and pustules. Grade 4 acne is cystic acne. Cysts with comedones, papules, pustules, and inflammation are present. Scar formation from tissue damage is common.
All right. So do y'all need to see that one more time? Do you need to see that one more time?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So remember the word closed comedone, open comedone? We've heard those before. That means whiteheads and blackheads, okay? And so let's hear it one more time, and let's take knowledge of grade 3 and 4 and how they differ from grade 1 and 2.
There are 4 grades of acne. Its severity is determined by the number of lesions, comedones, papules, pustules, and cysts. Grade 1 acne is characterized by minor breakouts, mostly open comedones, some closed comedones, and a few papules. Grade 2 acne is characterized by many closed comedones, more open comedones, and occasional papules and pustules. Grade 3 acne involves red, inflamed skin, and many comedones, papules, and pustules. Grade 4 acne is cystic acne. Cysts with comedones, papules, pustules, and inflammation are present. Scar formation from tissue damage is common.
All right. So what did we notice between grade 1 and grade 4? Who wants to talk about it? Unmute. What did you notice just visually? What is the difference between grade 1 and grade 4? You don't have to give me a definition in the book. What could you visually see the difference of? Somebody unmute.
Grade 1 was kind of like maybe small, tiny pimples here and there. And then once it got to grade 4, it looked like kind of almost rashy, very red, very inflamed, and the bumps were worse.
All right. 4, what did they call 4? Grade 4. Good job. Was that Tanaya?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let me hear from some OGs. What did they call grade 4? What kind of acne was that? What kind of acne was grade 4? We know it was the worser kind, but what kind of acne was grade 4? What do they call it? Starts with a C. Ashley or Raquel? What did they call it? What y'all think? Are y'all in the chat or you unmute? Who's in the chat? Yep, Danielle said it got worse. It absolutely did. It's called cystic acne, guys. Okay. It was called cystic acne. All right. Let me to it. All right. It's called cystic acne. And remember, here are some visual causes. No, well, some visualizations. Grade 1 and 2 had some open and closed comedones. Grade 2, you're going to see more open and closed comedones. And it could be evident or maybe a little pus, but most of the time you're going to see blackheads and whiteheads. So 1 and 2, you're going to do extractions. And if you just simply soften the skin, remove oil, sweat, and bacteria, any kind of germs, any dirt from that area, it will probably calm all the way down. Remember, 1 and 2, we don't even see a lot of redness, but there's a texture. We could see that some of the pimples are raised. And then when I look at grade 3 and 4, I now see signs of inflammation. So that tells me I'm now dealing with some more insensitized areas. I have to make sure hands are clean and scarring can start to take place. Okay. And when you get to 4, you definitely may already have some scarring take place. Okay. Cystic acne, most of the time, you're there to treat. Okay. It's certain products that you're able to do, you're there to treat, but they should also go and see a physician. All right. You have papules that are red, inflamed. Some have pus in them. And then you have other pus styles that are filled with fluid, maybe a sign of infection. And then you have cysts. Cysts, these are nodules, like deep pockets of infection. Whenever there's cysts, you guys should not be removing cysts. You should know the difference between a papule, which is a pimple, flat or raised, papule, pustule. So one flat, one raised, both bumps, both can be in the acne category, but there's a difference between that and a cyst. Okay. So we should not be extracting. Remember, we're not cutting live skin with the lancet or any blades. And when you are extracting for a cyst, remember that's not out of our scope. You also have to remove the sac where the cyst was in. Most of the time, estheticians try to, or those individuals who are not properly trained, are so obsessed with popping bumps or pimples or whatever that may be, that they don't know the difference of what they're doing, okay, or what they see. They think all of them are the same. In fact, you may get a lot of outing, like, ooh, a lot of oozing from a cyst, but then it's gonna grow back and maybe even bigger because you didn't remove the sac that the cyst was sitting in. That's why it's out of our scope of practice for some of these things, okay? And so we got to know what we can do and what we cannot do. So you got to be very careful. Those clients dealing with cystic acne, again, you have not pimple on the cheek or pimple on the forehead, and I gotta, there's 2 I gotta get rid of. Cystic acne can sometimes be a cluster of pimples together, maybe on the cheeks, the forehead, or the chin. It could be identified by redness, pain, okay? Sometimes we combat that with sulfur, okay? So we want to make sure that it's clean. And you say, Ms. Cox, sulfur, what have you guys known sulfur to do? What have you guys known sulfur to do? Has anyone ever used sulfur? Has anyone ever used sulfur in their hair, skin, or nails? SULFUR. Who
I
has?
have.
Yeah. What do
I
you remember?
actually, my daughter, she was suffering when I first had her. She
Mm-hmm.
suffered with eczema real bad in the back of her hair. So it broke off her hair. 1 second, I'm headed back to the car.
Okay.
It broke her hair out really bad. So we did sulfur, and the vitamin E, popped the little pills, mixed it together with some coconut oil, and it grew her hair really good.
Ah, there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Sulfur, the hair, skin, and nails has a component of sulfur. A lot of times when the hair or skin has gotten very severe, you have to put back in it what it's made up of. And so sulfur has been one of those things that it may not smell good, but it's good for you. Okay, it's good for the hair, skin, and nails. And so a lot of times we attack these very bad cases of acne with sulfur because it will go in, dry out, okay, and replace back in it the hair, skin, and nails was missing. So not only does it start to you're going to start to remove the bacteria, you're going to clean that area, but you're also going to detox. We need to pull all the oil from that area because the oil is keeping this thing alive. So we pull all the oil out, we detox it, then we try to dry it out. And then the sulfur goes in as drying and treatment of that area. So we may put sulfur in our masks. That is the biggest thing that we could do for cystic acne on our end is use a key premium ingredient in our cleanser or in our mask. And so for us, treatment is going to be in our mask. It is going, we know what a clay mask does. It's going to soften, it's going to then dry, and it's going to pull together. It's going to contract those pores, and whatever's in there is going to pull to the surface. So we will have look up a sulfur mask, and that is going to be our key ancient Chinese secret. I don't want to say Chinese, but it's going to be our key ingredient that we use. And people are going to say, what do you use that? Because it cleared me up, and that, you know what? That's because you're an expert. Okay, find these ingredients that help take care of these things, and then start to customize, start to build, and you know, boom, you may even come up with your own product. I don't know, but you got to find these key things. Just like we're going to talk about dermatitis, and so you have eczema, dermatitis, dandruff, all in the same family. But when you're dealing with that on the scalp, we need tar base, something that's tar based. So I know we got the cade oil. It smells horrible, but guys, it is effective in healing for the scalp. And so a lot of time the healing process don't smell good. It may not feel amazing. It ain't peaches and cream, but it is so good for the hair, skin, and nails. Okay, so good. And so this is your reading tomorrow. Even though we have a full day tomorrow, I want us to come in tomorrow, and I'm gonna put some things for acne on the board. We're gonna have a small chat about acne grades, but tomorrow we are coming in. Danielle, you're gonna continue your class on lash extensions? Is Danielle there?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Are you continuing your class on lash extensions?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. And then part 2 of tomorrow's class, I do want to show facial with dermabrasion machines. So I want to identify, I want you to pull out the machine. We have 2 microdermabrasion machines. So I'll be pulling those out tomorrow, and we'll talk about instances that we use that machine. Okay. And so we'll need somebody to be the model.
Can somebody do me since I got hair on my face, a little fine hair on the side?
That's not a dermaplane, the dermabrasion.
Okay.
But if you would like to be a model, we got 1 model. We probably need at least 2 models tomorrow, okay? And we'll do those models from the classroom. We're going to be working on each other, and you guys are going to be introduced to the dermabrasion machine. And I'm so excited because once you're introduced to the machine, you'll find that most people don't need a chemical peel that are melanated. They just need control over the overgrowth and texture of the skin. And so we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. And remember, dermabrasion is a form of exfoliation. So the microdermabrasion machine does substitute you using a scrub on the face during a facial. And so we'll talk about that. So we got a full fun day tomorrow. Let's continue our lash extensions. And then also we're gonna discover our dermabrasion machine, and we're gonna work on each other. All right. Miss Anthony, you have any closing remarks? Oh, wait, I'm putting you on the spot, ain't I? If she's still here, she may be already gone. But guys, look, it's been a wonderful and amazing time with you. If you have any questions, you know where I am. I'll be working today from on a makeshift office at the hospital.
I'm still
Also,
here.
okay, you're still here.
Yeah, I
I
was
am
trying to get it unmuted.
okay. Stay unmuted. So you know where I'm working. I'm going back to school just for a little bit, just the queen, just a little bit. And I'm gonna see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Miss Anthony, I'm gonna let you close out for the day. You have anything for our students?
I would just like to encourage y'all to keep going forward, keep aiming towards your dreams and your goals, and be sure to take in all the information that you can. And there's never a moment to stop learning. Every day you can learn something new about your career, and just continue to do what you all are doing and stay motivated.
Let's just clock that T with Miss Anthony. Yep, y'all appreciate Miss Anthony, girl. You're amazing. I love you. I love you. I love you. Good job. Good job. Great closing of the class. Get used to it. Okay. Y'all
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
blessed and amazing day. And remember, we are going to start the class talking about acne tomorrow. I'm going to bring some pictures and they're going to be on the board. And we're going to have a conversation about acne tomorrow. And then we're going to jump into all the amazing things that we have scheduled. Y'all have a blessed and great day. See you guys tomorrow and stay safe and cool. See y'all later.